what is up, people? Alright, so here I have is the Frostblades League starter. Alright, this is the assassin and this is the leveling guide. So a very quick intro. This is a mid-range cold build, cold melee build, depending on what weapons you use, because different weapons will vary different range. And for mine, I actually recommend using a sword because it has a decent range compared to like dagger or claws, which is really very short. Okay, so at the start you are not going to pump all of these like melee range or whatsoever. That's why this sword is pretty decent. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun playing through the campaigns after the build ramps up, right? But before that, I gotta admit, I do struggle a little bit in like Act 1 and 2 because the build ramps up quite slowly. Okay, so do bear in mind, right, that this build was made to transit into the low budget COC build easier, okay, with lesser respect points, lesser hassle, you know, to level up the gems that's required for a low budget COC. Everything in this build guide or the POB is literally meant for you to transit into a low budget Cyclone COC. Okay, so if you're gonna reference mine into someone else's build, it is going to be a lot or just way more different from them. Okay, you will see everything is quite different, so do not be confused or whatever. I'm going to mention again, this build guide is meant for players to transit into the low budget COC. Okay, so next I'm just going to give you the pros and cons of this build very quickly. So pros, number one, it is good at clearing packs. Okay, it is very fast at clearing packs. Like all you have to do when you see a pack of monster, you just throw the first frost blades and everything else beside and around it dies in a, let's just say, 180-degree cone. Okay, that's how good it is. And it is very fast and smooth, but this will only occur after Act 4. Right, after you get the multi-strike, you can see the real power spike difference right after it. There is a lot of difference. Okay, third, I would say this is a melee build, but it is not exactly melee whereby it's not melee range. There is still a good decent amount of medium range, so you know you don't really have to face tank every single physical damage intake from the monsters. Okay, cons. So first of all, this build is not good at single target. Like, I really mean it. Like, it is, I wouldn't say bad at single target, but it just cannot deal as fast or as much as the rest of the build. Alright, so you might actually struggle from Act 1 to 3 because of this as well. And two, for the cons, is it ramps up very slowly. Okay, it ramps up very slowly in a sense. The build needs to build up, and the real, like I mentioned, the real power spike comes after Act 4 or during the last portion of Act 4 when you get multi-strike and the rest of the gems. Okay, and third, like I say, because this is not a good single target, you might actually have problems with some of the bosses in the early acts or the early campaign. Bosses will take longer to kill, you need to dodge some stuff. Do not expect the boss to die in like 10 seconds or so. Okay, for this build, let's just say if you were to compare something to like maybe a cold dot build, okay, for example Vortex. If Vortex can take 10 seconds to probably kill the boss, Frostblades will probably take like 30 seconds. That's how long it is. Alright, estimated around there. Right, so yep, I'm gonna show a short clip of a Heist gameplay. As I always recommend players to do Heist on League Start right after you complete a campaign, because Heist will give you lots of jewelries which is hard to find in maps, and this can help you with your chaos recipe, which is really important for you to transit into a low budget COC on day 1. After which, I will just briefly go through on how to look at the POB for Frostblades, and we'll wrap up the video. Alright, you can find the links to the POB and the rest of my League Starter or builds that you might find interesting in the description links. Alright, as for now, the POB is still not updated to version 3.22 yet, so I will update them as soon as POB is updated. Okay, so for now, whatever that you are seeing is actually, it might be 3.21 as of now of doing this video. I will always just update them as soon as I have any important things to change or to update the rest of you guys. Alright, I am going to show you one run of a Heist contract, and this is a level 67 contract. So we're doing contract because I always highly recommend everybody on League Start to actually do Heist right after your campaign, because it is the fastest and the easiest to actually do the chaos recipe from Heist. You're going to get a lot of jewelry from it, and this is just a reference of how this build is going to work out. Okay, so let's just get onto it. Okay, even though this is a slightly high level character, but the gems that I'm using are actually very low level. You can see my Frostblade is like level 15 only, which requires like 52. They are all not maxed out, okay? They are just like bought fresh or directly from the campaign when I finish it. Okay. Oh my god, it's a bit laggy. I think it's still loading for me, so apologize. Yeah, but nonetheless, right, you can see actually Frostblade has a really good, decent clear. Right, it's really very good. Like I'm not even joking. I was quite amazed at how well and smooth this build can actually clear your maps or your packs. Okay, I am going to go to the top. So if you actually go into any of the heists that you know does not really give you good stuff, then you can just ignore all of the treasure rooms and just click the rest of the box, because the box is going to give you a chance to actually it's going to actually give you a chance to get jewelries instead of equipments. Okay, equipments I mean like your body armor, basically like your body armor, helmets, glove, all this. You're gonna get tons of that, but what we really want in Heist is all of the jewelries. Okay. Yeah, and I'm not fighting a boss yet, so that's why you don't see me using a lot of the debuffs and stuff. I'm just literally right-clicking. So if I want, I'll just put the Hydro Spear and I'll just hit the monsters. They will be hexed by both Frostbite and the Elemental Weakness. So some of you might actually be asking like, why Elemental Weakness isn't marked on hit better? The reason is really very simple, okay? The reason is because this starter is literally meant to transit into the low budget COC, and the low budget COC uses Elemental Weakness, okay, plus Frostbite. So we don't want to go through the hassle to actually level up another gem again. So we just make use of whatever that we have, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't want to level the gem from a low level again, right? And it's very troublesome, and it's also not like, you know, there is a big or huge difference in damage. Yeah, you can see Frostblade is actually not extremely powerful for single target damage, but I would actually say it's quite decent, okay? You don't take like one whole full minute to actually kill those rare monsters. Yep, you will never do that, okay? It's too long. Okay, I'm gonna ignore this guy. Am I wasting my time here? Okay, I'm just gonna put, and you can see I'm having really good spread already. Yeah, so once when you finish your campaign, right, you should not have so much HP, okay? Technically you should have about maybe 2000. Okay, about 2000. Okay, so like I said, this is just an example. I'm just going to show you like roughly how it fares in normal Heist, and this is literally from a level 70 skill tree perspective. Okay, level 70. I did not add any more than that. As you can see, I have 15 points over here. That's why I didn't add any of them. Trying to be as realistic as possible in this kind of situations when you actually meet them. Where am I going? I went the wrong way. Oh my god, there's a lot of stuff. Oh my god, that hurts, man. Okay, let's finish this up. It should be done after this. Yeah, I think the only real problem you have with rares, right, is if you actually meet one that has cold chill resistance. Right, otherwise it's actually pretty good. Alright, so that's Frost Blades for you. Okay, and here is the POB. I am going to go through the first section, which is your skill tree first. So under the drop down list over here, you can see I have created a few of the skill tree. 1 to 5 is literally for you to progress from Act 1 to 5. Okay, so Act 1 is very much the same as all of the assassin build. You're gonna take like all of the elemental damage, and I would try to get the soul siphon first because that will improve or fasten my gameplay towards the campaign, because every time I'm gonna have mana problems in Act 1, and by taking this you gain 10 mana per enemy kill. Every time you kill enemy, your mana is straight away going to be full again. Okay, so I will usually take this first, and then of course your blood siphon, and then elemental focus just to give you more elemental damage, right? And once you are done with Act 1, this is how Act 2 will looks like. You're just going to go down and take coordination and just branch out over here. The reason why I branch out over here is because if we were to go to the left side here, there is no damage nodes or no supporting nodes for this build that I can take off. Okay, so by taking here, I actually have a good decent amount of damage and mana regeneration, and here I have the cold damage as well. Okay, so that's why the route is taken for here. And right after that, Act 3, you're just going to take towards the Heart of Ice, and of course your influence. This is going to give you a good amount of, let's just say, mana reservation for you. Alright, however, if you don't want to take this, it is fine also. You can just go towards here, Deep Thoughts, to get the mana, and of course your 12% increased mana reservation efficiency of skills. Right, and then Act 4, we are just going to go left side towards the Disciple of the Forbidden, and of course take the Deep Thoughts. Then again here, okay, so before that, I'm sorry. So before that, try to take this Cold Mastery of 40% physical damage converted to cold damage, because Frost Blades only converts 60%. So by taking this, you're converting 100% physical damage to cold damage, and Hatred is going to give you a lot more damage boost from this. Okay, so something that you can change over here, if you do not want Disciple of the Forbidden, you can just remove it and take more life. Take this 50 max 50 life also, and you can just take some other stuff as well. Okay, this is not really important. More damage boost is okay, but at the start, all of these small damage boosts are not extremely significant, right? And then when you go Act 5, it is just taking the Whispers of the Doom, which you can apply additional curse, or like I say in Act 4, right, you can actually take this also. Okay, it is definitely no problem, because by taking this, okay, if you were to remove this and actually you take the curse, you are actually going to have double curse, which is Frostbite and Elemental Weakness, and this is going to give you a lot more damage. Okay, so personal preference over here, you can just change around whichever you like. Right, next is yeah, like I said, Act 5 this here, and after Act 5, the build should actually go very, very smoothly already. So usually I don't do the skill tree for Act 6 onwards. I'll just do one after you complete the campaign. Okay, so the rest of it you can just follow. This is literally like Act 10. I assume you're gonna be at level 67. Okay, level 67. So yeah, I'm missing one point, so I'll just update this once I finish this video before I post it. And please bear in mind that this is for level 67. Right after this, you are going to go into a level 80 skill tree. So for level 80, please bear in mind what I usually do after my campaign is I'll always respect this 4 nodes here, and take here, because this is going to give me a lot more skill points to actually branch out to more important nodes. Okay, so yes, please do take note of that. And yes, there's something that I forgotten to mention. So when you are transiting from Act 3 to Act 4, you should have more than enough mana to actually self-sustain, because you're going to use clarity from Act 1 to Act 3 and even until to Act 4. Okay, the only time you'll drop clarity is when you have reached like here. You actually take all of these leeching nodes, because Frostblades is an attack, and by taking this you can actually leech life and mana, which is going to be super useful and good. Once you have taken this leech node, you can actually drop clarity. Okay, and when I say drop clarity, means you can actually drop this soul siphon also. I personally felt that I had more than enough mana in Act 4 onwards. That's why I respect this straight away from, or when I reach Act 4. So when I reach Act 4, I literally just respect this straight away and put the nodes into something else which is more useful. Okay, so do take note of that. And yeah, the level 80 is just a gauge for you, to add what you actually need, because I am going to the left side of the skill tree, and this route, right, is exactly the same as the low budget COC, so you don't need to respect the left side over here. Okay, the only thing you need to respect when you go into the low budget COC is basically right here. Okay, right here, we are actually not using this for the low budget COC. It's just going left side, and you're gonna take like more precision or accuracy node stuff. Okay, just do reference to a low budget COC when you're transiting. It should be all good. You wouldn't need a lot of respect points. Alright, so for the skills, please take note that this is a 4-link to a 6-link Frostblade. The reason I have 2 is because I put them in priority order, whereby you should always take all of this first. The first 4 links is like kind of mandatory before you actually go into the 5 or the 6 link, right? And usually for League Starter, you will always want to purchase the Tabula Rasa straight up. That will be like first and foremost your most important item. Okay, and once you actually get a Tabula, you can actually add the increased critical strikes and elemental damage with attacks. Okay, and the next is we're gonna use Hydrosphere with Hex Touch and Frostbite plus Elemental Weakness. Okay, the Hydrosphere actually gives you a good amount of exposure, and not only that, when your Frostblade hits the Hydrosphere, it actually branches out the rest of them to hit all the other targets, and this is really very good. Okay, so when you're fighting bosses, the Hydrosphere is actually gonna give you a lot more damage. Right, okay, so maybe don't even need bosses. Let's say might be like rare monsters. Rare monsters, you will actually cast Hydrosphere as well. But other than that, I will just hit and go. It's actually pretty fast. Next is our aura. Our aura is really very straightforward. There is no determination here. Okay, there is no determination here because we do not have enough mana. Okay, we do not have enough mana. I tried to actually fit in a determination. If you actually have enough mana, you can drop Herald of Ice. Okay, if you can drop Herald of Ice for determination, because this is a level 80, you gotta remember this is a level 80 skill tree. Okay, if I were to put here at level 10, you can see there is a really big difference because we did not take the aura nodes over here. Okay, so actually once you take this reservation efficiency nodes over here, let's say for example my level 80 skill tree, you can see we have more than enough mana to actually reserve determination and hatred. Then you can drop Herald of Ice. Alright, if you feel like you need more defenses, which I will definitely go for also. Alright, so this is something to take note. And the last one will be just utility. Alright, Steel Skin is just super good. Just put this on your left click throughout the whole campaign. You can get this at Act 1. It's going to allow you to take additional damage. It's going to stop you from bleeding as well, which throughout the campaign there are so many monsters that actually cause you to bleed, and when you need to run away from rare elite monsters, you can't be bleeding, because if you are bleeding and you are running away from rare monsters, I guarantee you will die. Right? So Steel Skin is really very good. Frostblade is just a movement skill that I've used in my low budget COC, so I'm just going to continue using it. You can change this to Flame Dash or Dash, whichever you want. And Summon Stone Golem is just for the regeneration and the taunt. Alright, you're gonna get it free at Act 4 anyway, so might as well just include it in. Right, so for the items, it's really very simple. I'm using a sword and a shield. Alright, and this is basically what I feel it is important. Alright, the reason why I use a sword also with the implicit accuracy rating, because we do not have a lot of accuracy. Okay, we really do not have a lot of accuracy, and this accuracy from the sword actually helps to boost our hit rate. Okay, you can see it actually bumped up right to 99%. If I don't have this 350 accuracy rating, I am pretty sure it's gonna be like 90% or so only. Okay, and whatever mods you have on your sword, right, as long as you have a few of the damage mods, it is okay. Alright, it doesn't have to be a specific modifier. You are just using this as a temporary weapon to boost your damage to kill stuff for the chaos recipe until you transit into low budget COC. Right, so no specific mods needed, just have some DPS mods on it. Right, the rest of the items, your shield, helmet, gloves, what else is there, your amulet as well, they are all just life resistance, and your rings is going to have attributes as well. Right, other than that, the rest is literally just your life and resistance. Remember, resistance is always your number one priority that you need to cap, and for boost it's just slightly different. I would recommend to craft the movement speed. Alright, so not this. You can see you have movement speed here, so you don't want to use your chaos, so you just craft the 15 to 19% movement speed if you do not have. Alright, I think it is okay for Heist. You don't really need like extremely powerful or fast movement speed, because Assassin by itself already has elusive, so it's actually moving quite fast. And on top of that, you have the quick super fast, so you just go really very quickly. Alright, as for the socket gems, right, you actually have one on the left and one on the right. For this, honestly, I will say just equip anything that's useful. Really, literally just equip anything that's useful. If you see there is resistance, then just equip it. Like I say, your main priority is to just have cap resistance. That's number one. And then if you have additional life or DPS on it, just equip it. Any form of DPS is going to help the build. Alright? But do not go all the way out there just to get one specific modifier for your DPS item. Like let's say for here, if I really need the +1 to what's that? There is this cold spell is not physical or melee. They literally just the +1. Okay, +1 for whichever skill you are using. There are some requirements that you need to actually craft those items, and you might not even get it until towards the end of the campaign. So do not go all the way out there just for this hassle. I would say just use whatever you have and transit as fast as possible. Any time that you use to actually get that particular rare modifier is going to waste a lot of time. Okay, of course your body armor is just Tabula Rasa. I'm just going to put this here. Do remember, right, if you're not using a Tabula Rasa, make sure that there is no life modifier on your body armor, alright? Because otherwise this node right here, this node will not work. So 15% increase max life if there are no life modifiers on equipped body armor. Okay, so just take note of this. And the rest of them is just on the notes. Basically on the notes, I have a step-by-step guide on what are the skill gems to take through your leveling from Act 1 to 4. Okay, so just read them. Basically the green colors are the quests. Your blue color is items that you take from the quest. Yellow color is basically like things that you need to link when you take those items. Okay, so some of the stuff you don't really have to link, you just equip it and go. Red color, just just read it. There are like important stuff that you need to know. Okay, so I'll just leave this for you to actually go through them. Feel free to ask me any questions on Discord. I recommend you to ask me on Discord instead of YouTube because I don't really see much of the comments or descriptions every single day. Alright, the link to my Discord is of course in the description. And yeah, I hope all of you guys is gonna enjoy 3.22 on League Start. I am going to release more videos for the League Starters and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.